everybody, we are the Babes of Bourbon. I am Megan Rudder.
And I'm Eric Rudder.
And Poppy Rudder, again, is in the bedroom.
Crazy cat.
Yeah, we started putting all of this stuff on the table and she started pawing, sniffing around, so we thought...
It also doesn't help that the Christmas tree is like 10 feet from us.
Yeah, the temptation. I don't know if any of you guys have cats or maybe dogs do this too, but our tree looked gorgeous before Poppy got to it. Everything was fluffy, the lights of the garland, everything was evenly spaced, and then she started climbing and nosediving out of it, and it defluffs our branches. But welcome to our video 2 of the holiday series.
Woo!
Woo!
2, 3. How to get your friends to drink bourbon.
Yes.
Or rye whiskey.
Yeah. You know, we're just going to throw in some rye because today we have the delicious Sazerac Rye. And we found this at Woodman's in Menominee Falls. Very luckily, I think we mentioned this in a past video.
I think so, yeah.
That we just happened to stumble upon it and there were 2 bottles.
At a very good price.
Yeah, so. I think it was $39.
No, it was only 30.
Really?
30, yeah. MSRP.
Wow, look at us finding bargains out in the world. So today, what we're going to do, guys, is we wanted to do 3 different drinks for you. First, because we don't want to bypass the chance to taste the Sazerac straight. We're going to do that. And then Eric is going to be the bartender today and is going to make one old fashioned, that is a traditional old fashioned, and then one version, which is a Wisconsin old fashioned.
At least we like to claim it as Wisconsin old fashioned.
And that is the one that I'll be drinking.
So, should we start with a little pour?
Yes, please. The Sazerac Rye. Oh, thank you, dear.
I almost grabbed mine first. That would have been bad.
Gotta be a gentleman. Ooh, that is a huge pour, sweetie.
Good size pour.
Here, right. How about you have this one? Because we need some for the old fashioned stuff.
No.
That's much better.
Take more.
Yeah. Okay. We're still good for the cocktails. I think I've mentioned this in past videos. The difference between my pours and Eric's pours are usually 2 ounces. And I'll be like, no, that's perfect. I'm just like, no, it's not. Perfect for him.
Whew.
So, Rudolph, anything that you'd like to say about Sazerac Rye?
I know it's 51% rye, so it's like...
It's probably why I like it.
Yeah, most ryes are, they have to be at least 51% rye to be classified as rye whiskey. So this one is barely legal rye. And
we are going to be continuing our rating scale in this video.
Yes.
Which if you watched our Jack Daniel's Eric Church and Single Barrel video, we started that last week just to bring us a little more consistency and make sure that we can look back and actually see, what did we really like?
Yes.
So Eric came up with this.
Yes.
What is the scale, babe?
Oh. So it's 2 points for the nose, how it smells. 3 points for the taste, the initial taste. 2 points for the finish. And then 3 points for price and availability.
Which is my favorite part of the rating.
Yes.
Because I am a cheapskate.
And if a bourbon's hard to find, it's worth searching for.
Oh, absolutely.
But you know you're in for a challenge, at least.
Yeah. If you guys like bourbon, or maybe you don't, and you're just getting into it, and you've just been trying stuff from the grocery stores, it is so fun to actually go out and maybe cross the border to Illinois and check out their liquor stores and actually get to find things. It's like an adrenaline rush.
Yes.
I enjoyed that quite a bit when we were in Kentucky. And at that point, I still wasn't gung-ho on the bourbon train, but I made it here, guys.
It changed your life forever.
Forever. What do you get on this nose?
Of course, a little rye.
A little rye on the Sazerac Rye.
I almost get, I don't know if it's honey or floral, but something a little more sweet in there.
I get vanilla, which is interesting for a rye because I don't usually get vanilla in the ryes. I took my first sip already. I rushed it. Flavorful.
Yes. Can I tell you the flavors today? We'll see. Probably not.
We'll see if it happens. I definitely... Well, this is like so many ryes, because if you ever have rye bread, if you're at your Wisconsin fish fry, guys, get your slice of rye on the side. It's a very hearty bread. Mm-hmm. It usually has a lot of different spices and flavors already associated with that. So whenever I drink a rye whiskey, I'm just kind of like, oh, it tastes like rye, because that's what I'm used to. But if I break it down, it does have the rye grain in there. It has some spiciness. I smelled vanilla, but I didn't taste it. Thoughts?
I get rye. I might get a little orange.
Oh.
I think I do get a little orange.
And what do you think of the finish?
It's a little short. But
I agree. But I don't think short is necessarily bad.
No.
It's like, it's solid. You get a good nose. I don't think it's outstanding, but I think it's good. Flavor is pretty good. The finish is short, but nice.
Mm-hmm. We can think about it through the video. See what we
think about it,
score.
Guys.
Come back to it in a little bit.
I think I'm going to start putting my little ratings down here because I'm going to forget.
I gave myself a good pour. I can come back to it.
You can meander over it. So did you want to start explaining the difference between the old fashions that we're going to make?
Absolutely. So, because this is the series, we're converting our non-bourbon drinking friends into drinking bourbon.
Dad, I'm coming for you.
So we have two options here tonight. One is the stronger, I would call it the traditional old-fashioned, where if you are traveling outside of Wisconsin, you're going to get this served to you. And then the Wisconsin old-fashioned, which we'll show you in a couple minutes what that's all about.
Yes.
I will start with the more traditional one, which I just made maybe for the first time tonight. So, first thing you do is you take a couple bitters. And just,
we don't break the glass.
No.
Now,
it's about 3 to 4 little dashes is what they're called.
I like the dash.
Yes.
Now, can you find bitters pretty much at any liquor or grocery store?
I would say yes, you can find them pretty much anywhere.
Now, some people, they're pretty particular about what bitters they use. Eric and I aren't.
I would say this is probably the most popular brand.
What is it? Angostura.
Yes.
Angostura. Maybe we'll put the link down. Not a link, but describe what bitters it is down below.
We'll put a little recipe for both down below. Absolutely. This is about roughly 1 tablespoon, I think, TBS.
TBSP.
Make it nice and sugary for your non-bourbon drinkers.
Absolutely.
Even if you are a heavy bourbon or rye drinker, this is going to be delicious if you like sweet things. The next thing you do...
Is this what you need?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Maybe to stir everything up.
I'm just in the way, guys.
Just in a moment, I'll need that. So,
keep her the spoon.
The recipe said 2 ounces of
whatever
rye, whiskey, or bourbon.
Rye. We have used both in old fashions. I would say for myself, I prefer rye whiskey in my old fashions. And the reason is I like a little bit of that spice coming through where I find that more in ryes than in bourbons. Now, is that always the case? Absolutely not. And I really enjoy Moscow Mule, so I like that bite of a ginger beer. It's kind of the same with the ryes.
And then you just sort of stir it all up.
Until it dissolves a bit and it's not quite sitting on the bottom.
Yeah, maybe I put a little too much sugar in, but...
That's okay.
Yes.
That's the fun thing about being the bartender. You get to make it how you want it.
And then you just put an ice cube and hopefully it'll splash all over. And then I like to garnish it with a little orange. You just take it, you sort of squeeze out the oils and everything in that.
And that's just the peel.
Yes, just the peel. For this version of it, you just dump it in there. And the reason why I'm saying this is a good way to convert your non-bourbon drinkers into bourbon drinking is this really sweetens it up. And you still smell the rye in there and everything that's delicious about it.
Gotta woo them with something sweet to start.
And you still taste everything in there. You want to sip?
Yeah, I'd love to take a sip. Thanks, dude. Oh yeah, that's really tasty.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, even though that was a big dump of sugar, I think that's perfect.
Yes.
That's absolutely delicious.
No, this is still pretty strong on the alcohol, especially if you're not used to drinking bourbon or rye whiskey or any whiskey that you're putting in here. So the next step is to show the Wisconsin Old Fashioned.
Now, I have a little quick story. Shout out to my mother on this one. We went to Colorado to visit my sister. And my mom, who loves old fashions, I think it's probably her favorite alcoholic beverage. She ordered an old fashioned at the restaurant, and they gave her that version of an old fashioned, and she took a sip, and she like almost spit it back in her cup because she was like, "This is an old fashioned. This isn't right." I'm like, "Oh, this is how every other state makes them." And in Wisconsin, if you're from out of state, I'm assuming most of our viewers are from Wisconsin in state right now. But in case you're not, we have a huge supper club culture up here where just like in every suburb and every North Woods, there's generally like a fancy supper club. And the general drink that you have there is an old fashioned. Maybe with brandy, maybe with bourbon. It depends. But we make it in a very special, delicious way.
Mm-hmm. So what I just did there is you still start with your 3 to 4 dashes of bitters. And then you could still, if you only have sugar, you could still use that. But I like using this Roses simple syrup. Honestly, any simple syrup. I was thinking about being fancy and making our own for our video today. Then I was like, well, it's in the fridge. Might as well just use this.
Now, our friend Mike makes really good infused simple syrups.
Yes.
I say our friend. He's like Eric's BFF, one of the 4. But what are you looking for, sweetie?
Our little measurer.
This one?
Oh, right in front of me.
He made for like a ugly Christmas sweater party one year some infused simple syrups. They were delicious. But we're not that fancy. How much did you put in?
Recipe wise, it's 1 ounce of simple syrup if you're following that. If not, just if you like sugary things, put more in. If you don't like sugary things, put less in.
I would say sometimes if you've never made it before, it's better to start with less because you don't know how much sweetness you're going to enjoy. You can always add more.
And now, okay, 1 cherry. Ooh, the stem's already off. You put that on the bottom. You
Killing
take
it.
another cherry.
Take that stem off.
Put that on the bottom. Do you want 1 more cherry?
No, it's too good.
And now you take this muddler.
I swear it really is a muddler.
Yes. And you mash it up a little and just sort of stir everything around.
Infuse the simple syrup and bitters with your delicious cherries.
If you want to do this on the original version too, you can.
Absolutely can.
It helps mix it up a little, but you don't have to.
Yeah. Because if you're not putting fruit in, it doesn't really make sense to muddle.
Okay. And then after that, you take your...
Does the orange go on top for this one?
That's what I do because I tried mashing it up once and it was like...
Wasn't good?
Extra heavy pulp orange juice.
It's not bueno.
I like a little pulp in my orange juice, but not heavy pulp.
Yeah, I have to ask these questions because I drink old fashions all the time, but I do not make them because I have this wonderful husband here who makes them for me.
Again, it's about 2.5 ounces. You just saw me pour a little Little alcohol, but that's okay. Wasted a little.
No one saw.
And then you put your ice cube in. Again, hope it doesn't splash everywhere. Okay. If you wanted to, you could try it like that because you've already made it a lot more sweet than the other version.
Yeah.
But if it's Wisconsin, this is called Old Fashioned Sweet.
Yes. And if you want an old sweet is with Sprite, and old fashioned sour is with Squirt.
Yes.
Both are really good, honestly.
And you just sort of top it off.
Hear that fizzle if you can.
Yes.
Delicious.
And it is up to you whether if you want to take this little bad boy and swirl it around at all to make sure it's mixed. I do that sometimes I don't.
It's good both ways.
And then the next step is you just take the orange, lightly squeeze it.
And this one's an orange slice, not just orange peel.
And you garnish. And if you were really fancy and you wanted to, you could put a couple more cherries on top and put them on. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Let's see. Cheers.
Cheers.
Mm.
And this Sazerac Rye in these old fashions
Is.
is unbelievably good. I don't know what I'm going to score it for just drinking it straight. It's definitely good, but
it's delicious
in these old fashions, it is amazing.
Which is interesting because if you've watched our videos before, you know I'm a sucker for a little bit of history. So I was looking up Sazerac because Sazerac is technically a part of Buffalo Trace. It's kind of like one of those offshoots of Buffalo Trace.
Well, Sazerac is the parent company.
There we go.
That owns Buffalo Trace. Just
Thank you. Fun fact that I did not research. So Sazerac Rye, I just found this out recently as I was like digging up some of the dirt on the Buffalo Trace distillery website, was originally from New Orleans or Nolans, if you're from there, which I am not. And there were coffee houses apparently in the 1800s, early 1800s, that were the fronts for saloons. And they had toddies of Sazerac Rye at the Sazerac Coffee House that they mixed with, I think it's pronounced Peychaud's bitters. And that was actually the first American cocktail with Sazerac Rye. Wow. And they called it a Sazerac. So I think it's like, I don't know. It just makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside that we're using Sazerac Rye for our favorite cocktails when it was like America's first branded cocktail. Yeah, so this stuff has been around for like 200 years pretty much.
Wow, that is amazing.
Not this particular bottle because we can't afford that, but...
No. Not even the 18-year that we were supposed to get in the raffles this year.
Totally.
Did not happen.
That one was for us.
We would have enjoyed it fully.
Oh, let me just bring up quickly what the actual tasting notes for the Sazerac Rye are. So it says aromas of clove, vanilla, and I always say anise, but I think Americans pronounce it anise. Anise.
I say anise.
Just to clarify that, guys, I studied French and I studied abroad for just a little bit, and I had never cooked because I don't enjoy that like black licorice flavor, and my roommate did. So the only time I've ever really sought after it in the grocery store was in French, and so I don't know how Americans pronounce it because I wouldn't buy it here. So clove, vanilla, anise, and pepper, subtle notes of candied spices and citrus. The big finish is smooth with hints of licorice.
Maybe that's why I'm not. I don't taste the licorice on the finish, but that could be why it's short to me because I don't eat black licorice. I don't know what it tastes like. Me
either. I used to really try to like it when I was little because I loved the colors purple and pink and good and plenties. I think the candy were little black licorice things that were like pink, purple, and white. I did not enjoy the candy experience.
Now that you said black licorice, though, I got a little of that.
Did I just ruin it for you?
No.
Bum, bum, bum.
No, it is very good.
Cocktails, a 10 out of 10. So what Have you? Oh, are you finished?
Oh, I just finished.
Oh, for the nose.
I gave it a 1.25.
I give it a 1.5.
Mm.
Is that too generous?
I don't think you were. Maybe I was being.
No, but
it's pretty good.
I prefer ryes,
Mm-hmm.
I think, more than you do.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I like
So
them being a little more heavy rye. Like the Whistle Pigs, where they're 95% rye.
They have really good noses, the Whistle Pigs. But
Mm-hmm.
they're also like
a little more expensive.
And blended of like a million different things. So they have more notes.
Yep.
Anyway, so I had 1.5. You had 1.25.
Mm-hmm.
Taste?
I think this is your average tasting rye.
Yeah, very much so. It has good flavor. It's not too heavy in the nose, in the mouthfeel after, in the finish, or in the flavor, which is a really good intro again. If you want someone to get into bourbons and whiskeys and ryes, this is something I would introduce people to.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, finish.
I gave it a 1.25.
And I gave it a 1.
Mm.
I wasn't blown away, but it's not like it was bad.
I gave it slightly above average. It is there. It's present in it. I get a little of that citrus.
Yes.
Maybe it is average. Maybe I should have given it 1.
No, don't. He did this last time too. Whenever he hears my score, he's like, "Oh, that's what I should have picked." Yeah. No, stay strong, man.
I'm getting used to the scoring system.
Yeah.
I don't want to. Every whiskey or bourbon that we've had so far on this new scoring system that we've done has been really good. And a couple of the scores were a little low.
That's a lie. We did not enjoy the last rye that we tried. And if you would like to know what that rye was, go look at our last video. It's being nice.
It scored a little too low in my opinion. It's not worth the vibe, but yeah.
I am so much harsher than he is when it comes to this stuff. I'm like, nah. Mm-mm. But availability, what did you put?
I think it's sort of hard to find right now. But if you do find it at MSRP, I think it's definitely worth the price.
I would pay up to like $40 for this one though.
So I gave it a 1.5.
I gave it a 1 because this isn't, like for me, pricing was really good. But availability, if I see this like twice a year in a liquor store, and you know, we have liquor stores attached to every grocery store. So it's not like I don't go in the liquor store often. I'm there every time I'm grocery shopping, just, you know, seeing if there's any good bourbons or whiskeys out there. If I only see it like twice, for me, the availability is too low to have a high score. But I think it's delicious. And I'm happy that we bought it and found it.
Pretty much every point of my 1.5 was for price and not availability. I just knocked off a full point for availability.
It's done.
Yes.
So my final score was a 5.5 out of 10. And again, for myself, anything over 5, I'm happy with. 5 is like completely average to me. So a 5.5 is a pretty good score for me. What did you give it?
I gave it a 5.5 as well.
Ooh, twinsies.
Based off of last week, I would say I am very similar. I would say between 0 and 5, I would not recommend buying it. 5 and above is probably a buy. Between 5 and 8 is if you are listening to our video and like the profile, buy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
8 and 10,
out of this world.
Buy it.
Run to the liquor store and purchase.
Hopefully, even if you don't like the profile, you'll just be blown away by how quality it is.
Absolutely. Quality like these beautiful antlers here.
Yes. And I got little mittens. I don't know if you can see them.
Can we lift them up? Can you see the little nose on them? So cute. I love that Santa suit. But anyways, this, honestly, old fashions is the way.
Yes.
Someone's heart if you want to get them on the bourbon train. And being in Wisconsin where we consume 50% of the nation's brandy, and we are one state out of 50. Just think about that for a moment. People have old fashions. Like, it's so, if you're from the state, you're going to have old fashions. So give them it with bourbon or rye whiskey rather than brandy and see how they feel about it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I actually was surprised because I'd always ordered a brandy old fashioned sweet when I went for old fashions. And I actually enjoy it with bourbon or whiskey just a little bit more because I feel like the brandy kind of melds with the flavors where the bourbon and rye stand out a little bit and add a little something, something.
I feel like the brandy it's already a very sugary drink. It almost makes it way too sugary in my book.
I would not go that far.
And
I enjoy brandy as well.
the bourbon and rye brings a different dimension.
It does bring a different dimension to it. So let us know what you guys think. If you love old fashions, let us know what your favorite liquor to go with it is. And of course, as always, if you enjoyed the video, give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a comment and a share.
Below. Yeah, follow us on Instagram.
Yes, all the social media things that you need to say nowadays for self-promotion. But
maybe one day we'll have even more sales here at the end.
Maybe.
Just to drag this out a little longer for all of you.
We're too old for TikTok, but it'll be like TikTok, Snapchat, blah, 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 blah. Any other social media is like, but for real, I hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas. I hope you're enjoying the holiday season, and I hope you tune in next week for our final little episode of the holiday special. Have a wonderful night, guys. Bye.
Bye.